Recently, guys, I've been pondering, were the OG pioneers of the anime fandom, were they actually bullied because they liked anime, or were they bullied and happened to like anime? In some way, I think a lot of you guys are probably gonna get bullied whether you rap anime or not. Also, before that one anime influencer comes for me for views, I gotta put a huge disclaimer. No, I don't believe anyone should get bullied for being weird or off-putting. I just think it's important to point out how some of you guys keep blaming anime for your hard upbringing, when in reality, most bullies, let's be honest, they didn't even know what anime was. They just saw cartoons, and these cartoons they thought made you weird, and they saw it as easy ammo for insult. So the reason I say this stuff pretty confidently without any remorse is because of my previous experiences with OG weebs. You see, back in the day, I wanted to join the anime community myself when I was in high school. However, with each encounter with these anime fans, it just made me distance myself further and further from the genre until I completely dropped it. Because the more I got to know the fandom, the more out of place I felt. And with that, guys, I think it's story time. I'm gonna tell you guys a story while I do some stuff around. Now, the reason I took Japanese class was partially because of anime. Not a whole lot, but partially. The main reason I took Japanese class was, at the time, NHK was a huge part of my life. And the reason was because my parents couldn't afford cable, so that was my biggest source of entertainment back in the day. Because of NHK, I became in love with Japan and its countryside, and even more so, trains. Upon entering my first day of Japanese class, I noticed that there was this cheesy smell that wasn't downright awful, but it felt ominous. Japanese class itself was pretty darn challenging. Not because of the pronunciation, surprisingly the vowels between Spanish and Japanese are pretty much the same. The difficult part for me was memorizing vocab because my teacher wanted to speed run the entire Japanese vocabulary by the end of the year, and my forgetful ass could not keep up with the teacher. However, that's not the main reason I actually dropped out of Japanese class. The real reason were my classmates. At first, my classmates were pretty normal, they were tame. However, over time, man, they just got a little too comfortable with the class. They slowly began to show their true colors to all of us. It started with, kids playing 3DS in class, occasionally doing anime impressions during class readings. Nothing too bad. I mean, it's kind of those things that you kind of expect in these type of classes, right? However, I did not expect this level of degeneracy. So there was one week where we had tests and quizzes back to back, and it was so bad that half the class began to fail. It was so stressful that one day, this one kid who sat next to me just broke into frustration and did something that none of us expected. He grabbed his paper test, brought it to his mouth, licked his lips, and bon appetit, this guy chowed down like it was a scrumptious delicacy. He took a minute, but he finished an entire 6 pages of paper. Forget telling my teacher that my dog ate my homework. What about my classmate? God damn. If that wasn't enough, he turned to me and my classmates, opened his mouth to show proof of this crazy stunt. In my head, I was thinking like, bro, what do you think this is? Fear factor? To this day, guys, I can't unsee what I saw. Another occasion, I remember there's one kid who sat next to me. He kept frequently asking me, why do corn actresses moan so loud? Which, hey, not gonna lie, that's actually a good question. But did he have to ask me that during a test, my guy? Anyways, there are a lot more incidences, but the one that just took the cake, the one that made me feel like I didn't belong with these animals. I remember I was in class doing my study sheet, trying to finish it as fast as I can because I didn't want to take any homework. And then I remember looking up and there was this dude straight up watching anime during class. And the dude wasn't even fapping, bro. He was just genuinely interested for the plot. That day, man, they took my anime innocence. Now, I'm not gonna act high and mighty right now and tell you that I hate anime now. In fact, I'm more than cool with it now. It's just that it was a lot for me to process for me at the time. Now, the store that I'm visiting right now is called Surugumi. It's probably one of the most unique anime stores I've ever been to because not only does it actually sell official merchandise, it also does sell fan-made merch. So there's a lot of unique stuff that you could find here that you're never gonna find anywhere else. So if you guys ever want to visit the store, this one is in Buena Park and there's another location over in downtown LA. Unregrettably, I had to drop the Japanese class, and there was about 3 big reasons why. Now, the first reason is because the classroom, man, it was getting worse and worse in terms of smell, and let's just say at a certain point, the classroom had its own aura. The second reason was because the class was getting a lot harder, and the thing was about this Japanese class is that if you pretty much slacked off at least 1 week, bro, the whole semester was gonna be a pain in the ass because you'd be freaking behind. And the third reason was one that kind of sealed the deal for me, being exposed to tentacles during silent study. And let's just say after that, bro, I just figured like, why would I even find to stay, you know?
Now, the whole summer, I was pretty much looking forward to joining my high school's anime club. Why? Well, the reason was pretty much I got into Soul Eater, and that anime got me hooked, man.
Let's go, Soul Eater.
This anime has my favorite openings of all time, and it introduced me to my first ever waifu, which was Maka. Upon finishing Soul Eater, I pretty much had 3 things that I wanted to accomplish. The first was learn more about this anime stuff. Second was finding people to geek over it with. And the third one was find a way to date a blonde girl. And as you figured, yes, Maka was the reason I started having a thing for blonde girls. So excitedly, I joined my anime club, hoping to fulfill these goals. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, my membership was short-lived. After signing up for the anime club, I got accepted. Then I was notified that our first club meeting was going to be in the same classroom where my Japanese class was at, which I don't know why it caught me by surprise, considering it makes sense, but it caught me by surprise. Bro, first time here at this bakery, and good lord, the food here looks delicious. I mean, look at this freaking cake, man. Isn't it look cute as fuck? Look at all these freaking big bag goods, man. Oh my god, man. They had so many freaking good flavors of stuff here. Honestly, guys, I highly recommend this spot. It has such a cool vibe. I could really see this being a good spot to hang out with friends, going for a study sesh, or maybe even a date, you know, if you're luckier than me.
Do you guys remember that odor that I told you about in class that I didn't feel like was at its full potential? Well, yeah, that's because it wasn't. And I found its source.
Immediately when I first entered the club meeting, I was hit with this overwhelming smell of sweat and moldy cheese. Like, bro. Well, that day I found the source of that foul stench, and it was right there. It was some dude, and I remember him to this day. It was some white dude with really bright yellow shorts or something. He had some really bright, colorful shorts. To this day, I still remember that odor, bro. It was so strong that it gave me a freaking headache. Like, I felt nauseous the whole time I was there. So I waited, and after a couple minutes, the club president and his goons decided to give us their very quick and enthusiastic welcome. To this day, guys, I have no idea what they were yapping about because they spoke so low, like I didn't hear a single thing, which I could have forgiven them for it because, I mean, if the room was big and there was a lot of students, sometimes it's hard to project your voice. But bro, there was barely 10 people in this small empty room. After they finished their really short speech, they split off into different groups in the classroom, and everyone started to do their own thing. There was no unity. I got no warm welcome. I didn't get introduced to other club members. Honestly, at this point, I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to do. I still remember it to this day. I remember I just took out my manga, and I immediately felt like I was the odd one out, which I don't think that was their intention to do. But I mean, at the same time, like, I got this vibe that they didn't want to interact with other people. I tried my best to try to interact with other club members, but they just didn't look like they wanted to socialize. You know, you talk to them here and there, and they kind of just give you like a quick short answer, and they go back to doing what they're doing. After analyzing the room, I noticed that the groups were pretty much already made. They weren't looking to make a community. They pretty much looked like they got this room to hang out with their buddies. So at the end of the day, I just never came back to the club. I was super disappointed that I didn't make any friends, I didn't meet any blondes, or found any more people to hang out with and talk about anime. The amount of disappointment that I had that day was immeasurable. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I am not a K-pop person at all, but I do like Stray Kids. And the reason is because, man, I think a lot of the songs are bangers, really good stuff for the gym. They really pump me up. A little bonus fact that my cousin just told me is that one of the Stray Kids members is actually in the new Solo Leveling opening with Lisa. So, I mean, hey, man, I think he killed it. And I wouldn't mind seeing more K-pop and anime openings. So, just left the source, guys. Place pretty cool. I thought it was going to be a lot more stuff, but I kind of didn't do my homework. But apparently, I think it's a lot more Korean stuff, I think, that they have there. Definitely going to go there for a date. Going alone, I don't know if I'd go alone.
Now, my last straw with anime was pretty much falling for the oldest trick in the book, which, keep in mind that at the time, it wasn't actually an old trick. It's actually relatively new, so don't judge me.
So one day, I remember I was walking home with a couple buddies, and they began to talk about anime. And I know some of you guys might say, well, why didn't you talk to them first about anime? Well, you're about to find out. Now, during the entire conversation, I was completely in the dark. You know, they would say a bunch of catchphrases that they heard from Evangelion, JoJo, and a couple others. And during this entire conversation, I was super intrigued, and I found a lot of their stuff that they were saying was super funny. And that's when it hit me, like, bro, like, why don't I just ask these guys for some suggestions? I don't know why I didn't ask them before. So that's exactly what I did. I asked them like, hey guys, like what do you think I should watch after Soul Eater? They all started to chime in one after another, you know. They're really like heated and debated like what is a perfect title to watch. And then there was this one dude who said, yo bro, you should try Boku no Pico. It's really freaking good. And after that, bro, all the other guys stay silent, man. Their eyes were super wide open, and man, they looked super enthusiastic, like they found the perfect anime. Immediately after that, I went home, opened up the link to send me, and the way they seemed so enthusiastic about this anime, I knew I had to give it a shot. So immediately after that, I opened up my lackey laptop. That took forever to load, and as the video was buffering, guys, I felt hope. After all these little encounters, finally felt like, man, this might be it. This is what I was finally looking for this entire time. I felt my list of aspirations start to come closer. I could start to see the vision actually pan out in real life, and I could see myself having a blonde girlfriend. Then I proceeded to watch the video, and let's just say the amount of disappointment that I had that day was and yeah, haha, laugh it off, motherfuckers. You know, it's funny. It's funny now. I look back at it, like I have to admit, it's funny. But back then, it wasn't funny, bro. I thought that like they gave me a genuine recommendation. I was really hyped up for this. I was really happy. Well, upon that incident, guys, I was just over anime. I was over the people. Figured that anime fans and weebs are a bunch of weirdos, bro. I think at that point in my life, every person who liked anime, I found was just obsessed with Filthy Frank. They loved anime, and they didn't like taking showers, bro. They didn't believe in hygiene. At that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm done.
But for those of you guys who have never been to Portillo's, this establishment has been here for a really long time, and for me, like, it's honestly, it's one of the greatest places in Orange County to go eat. The hot dogs are honestly one of my favorites. So I recently checked my mailbox, and guys, let's just say your boy was surprised with none other than a Cholos Squinkles jersey, bro. Look at this thing. It's majestic, bro. It's beautiful. Come on, guys. You guys cannot say I don't look like the man. Look fucking dope. And look, guys, the whole reason I made this video is not, you know, to create hate or pretty much trying to make other people feel bad. Look, I made this whole video because I wanted to give a normie's perspective about what it was like to try to get into anime back in the day, because it is not at all the way it is today. Because nowadays, all walks of life like anime. That wasn't a thing back in the day. Now, a lot of old heads are mad because they're asking themselves, like, why didn't you join the anime community when it wasn't cool? Why didn't you join it when there wasn't that many people? You know, and you look back and you're like, bro, like, I just told you my experiences. These are the reasons people didn't join, bro, because you weirded them out. You didn't make it fun and accessible. A lot of you made it freaking weird and just unbearable for the average human being, you know? But that being said, though, OG anime fans, I hope you don't hate me. I do have a lot of respect for you because you guys held it down when anime needed you the most here in the West. And I really have to give you guys a really big props because anime would not be what it is today without you. And look, guys, if one of you guys related to being one of the weird people in my video, that's not a good thing, man. I'm not saying that you have to change your personality. I'm not saying that you gotta, you know, be someone that you're not. I'm just saying, man, try to have some self-awareness. Try to keep proper hygiene. I myself, hopefully I don't come off as this person who's super proper. Like, guys, I'm a fucking weirdo too. Like, half the stuff like that I do, I can't show you because I'd be fucking dying of embarrassment. I'm just someone who understands that there's a time and a place for a lot of these things. Anyways, guys, this is pretty much the normie's perspective on this whole entire matter. I always hear like a lot of OG stories tell us what it was back in the day, but we never really got to hear a lot of the normie stories. With that, guys, make sure to subscribe if you like today's video. I have a lot more cool videos like this coming up. Adios.